Hi guys, welcome back to our BBNaija reunion updates. This is brought to you by every NG, and my name is Judith. Now this night we had a double dose of the reunion because we're talking about the gbas, all those things that happened in the house that kind of triggered some people, you know what I'm saying. And first off, if started asking, okay, who asked the housemates? Of course not us, because we can't answer, but he was like, who do you think is easily triggered in the house? And Praise said it was Lucy. Then Tolani Bad said that she doesn't know, but someone that really triggered her in the house was definitely Katrina. And of course they played that clip of T-Badge and Katrina, Praise and Lucy. We know how that panned out. After T-Badge said what she said to Katrina, walked out, Praise now tried to analyze the situation. Lucy was like, please stop analyzing, bring a solution. And then Lucy and Tochi, when Tochi was trying to clean a place, and she's like, you can't do that, someone is already doing it. So going forward with the conversation, V was asked if she felt like Katrina was a bully, and she's like, no, I don't think she's a bully. Maybe she expressed herself in a way that wasn't right, like she didn't know how to express herself properly, but I don't think she was a bully. Now according to Katrina, she didn't have a strategy, like coming to the house to form burst lady wasn't really her strategy. She didn't have a strategy. That being a boss comes with her personality and her story, that she has a backstory to the boss lady thing. So she doesn't have any personal beef with anybody. No one triggered her. She was just doing her thing, minding her business, and that was it. But to Prince, is like, why are we always arguing about food? And this is not just about Katrina. Like, Katrina she's not the main person here. Like, every time food situation comes up, of course Katrina and Tochi comes to mind, because their fight has been played over and over and over and over. But according to Prince, and some other people agreed with him actually, the food fight continued even after Katrina left the house. So it wasn't a Katrina problem. It wasn't that. It was more like they were not organized when it comes to sharing food and stuff. Now, Ozo was asked, but you know, Ozo being diplomatic, he didn't really say anything controversial there. Then they played Ozo. I think Ebuka was trying to push Ozo because they asked him about the Katrina thing, and he's like, you know, everybody has their personality. Then Ebuka played the clip where Ozo lashed out on Prince, and it was like, whoa, okay. So reacting to that, Tricky T was like, he was really surprised, and he felt like he had to do with Nengi, that Nengi was like the underlying trigger for that situation. And he felt like maybe because Prince was closer to Nengi at the time, also had a problem with it, and that was why he lashed out on Prince like that. Although what Prince did was wrong, Tolani Badge agreed as well, Dora agreed as well. Nengi was like, she was surprised that she didn't think it was about her, that Ozo just wanted to get the challenge right, like he just wanted him to get the task right, because I think they had been failing. Now that he was head of house, he wanted to set like a record of, okay, yeah guys, you guys are winning in my regime. Prince was like, at the time he didn't think it was about Nengi, but now looking back at it, it's very possible that it was about Nengi. And Ozo was like, it wasn't about Nengi or nothing like that, but he understood why what he said was interpreted in the way it was, and they were trying to, that being adults and stuff, that it was only right that he tried to kind of apologize and mend their relationship. Now to Prince, on the other hand, he said that Ozo started to act a certain way towards him from the beginning, like he wasn't even that day from the beginning, and that he would always try to extend the hand of friendship, but it was not taken. Now to Ozo, he was like, I don't think friendship is such a strong word to use. I don't think you were trying to extend a hand of friendship. I think it was just a thing of trying to get along because we're in the same house. It wasn't really a friendship matter. So Ozo wasn't down for that friendship gist. So like, no, I don't think so. And then a lot of people complained about Prince's attitude whenever he loses something, because we all saw it. Every time Prince loses a challenge, is just like he's sulking for like 30 minutes, 1 hour. People have to come around and console him, and at some point I'm like, are you a baby? Everybody is here and everybody's competing. You're not the only one who's losing out on stuff. But I guess people are the way they are, and they react to things the way they do, as all the housemates have rightly said. But also said he had a problem with that, and he even mentioned the Pepsi task, where he had just won 1 million naira in an international trip, but he couldn't really celebrate because Prince was sulking. And at that point, he was just like, guy, but like, let me celebrate my win. And I totally understand where Ozo is coming from, because I've won something and I understand, but there has to be a winner. We can't have all 20 winners. All 20 housemates can't win the prize. That's why it's a competition. One person has to win. So Prince was like, he wasn't pissed for anyone to feel bad. It was just his personal problem. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but you're in a house with like several people. When you're pissed and then you're sulking, especially immediately after a win, you don't expect that people will go around celebrating. Of course, people are going to be like, now, wow, how are we going to sort this thing out now? And regardless of the fact that you're nobody's child, people are people, and emotions are going to come in. People are still going to feel the way they feel about certain situations. So V was like, the only thing that he didn't like was that Prince was too competitive, which still boils back to the fact that he was a sore loser. Although she avoided calling him a sore loser, T-Baj agreed, but she said it was different for her because she had to deal with it. She had a situationship with him at the time, so she had to deal with it actively. Other people, not so much. Now, Lucy, going back to that thing with Ozo and Prince, didn't see how it was about Nengi at first. She was like, I don't see how this is about Nengi. I thought it was just karma that was coming back for Prince, because she now cited when, Prince was saying that, that the clash was unnecessary, that Ozo didn't have shout at him like that. Now, Lucy was like, this is karma, because she went back to the time where Ozo was where Prince, I beg your pardon, was screaming at her after that thing that happened with Neo when they were dividing the tasks and stuff like that. So she went back to that time and said, well, maybe this was karma, because I didn't see it about Nengi at all. And Ozo was like, I don't think we're trying to be friends actually, because Prince kept on saying that he was extending a hand of friendship, and Ozo was like, we didn't connect. I don't think we're actively trying to be friends. Now Prince, on the other hand, now tried to play at something different. He was like, okay, during the season that he felt like people formed a clique to jeopardize his competition, and he mentioned V, Neo, and I know he was also going to add Ozo and Nengi at some point because they were the clique in the house, and he was like, oh, these people actively wanted him to lose. I'm like, everybody is actually looking on their own track. Everybody just doing their own thing. I don't think everybody is so focused on, oh my god, I need Prince to lose. Like, if you're going to focus on Prince losing, you're not really focusing on you winning. It's just let somebody else win, not Prince. So Prince said that, and someone was like, look, bro, don't try to play the victim. And Prince now mentioned something. When people are hurt, they just tend to open their mouths and just say things that maybe they were not supposed to say. But thankfully, Ebuka did not play on that. Maybe because it was going to be a much bigger issue than the reunion. Prince was saying stuff about how people wanted him to lose so badly that they cheated in the Johnny Walker game. I'm like, oh Jesus, what exactly is going on here, guys? So yeah, Neo was like, everybody has an opinion, and he even spoke to Prince about that, his long face attitude after every competition, that he felt it was unnecessary and there was no need doing that. Now Prince now went on to say, oh, everybody had a problem with me because I was a threat, and stuff. Now Lucy had a confession. Lucy was like, see, at the time, because Prince complained that when he won the privilege thing, some people were like, oh, they really wanted him to they wanted to win the next week so that they would upset Prince because he was doing too much. And Lucy was like, look, I was the one that said that. I don't know about who said hide the balls, because Prince complained that someone said they wanted to hide balls for a particular game properly because he was the next person to look for the balls. And I'm like, duh, is that not the point, to try and win? So Lucy was like, she wasn't the one that said that, but she said that she wanted to take Prince out of the privileged room because he was doing too much. Cook for me here, massage my back there, do this there. Like, bro, chill. You've won this time, and is this how you're going to behave every time you've won something? No wonder you're always so sad when you lose, because you don't have the opportunity to stunt on people. Alright, so most of the housemates apparently believe that Lucy is way different from what it was in the house, which is probably why people felt like she was faking being triggered in the house, because now Lucy is like a more calm person. She doesn't really have wahala. She's just there minding her business, doing her thing. And yeah, that was basically where they wrapped it up for the 10th episode, and then they quickly went into the 11th, because I feel like they did not cover as much, especially with Prince and Neo and Ozo, they didn't cover as much in one episode, so they had to like double that. So with episode 11, we started with Nengi's fights. Nengi's fight with Lucy, Nengi's fight with Kaisha. But focusing on the Lucy one, Dorothy said she didn't feel like that she did feel, I beg your pardon, that she did feel like flirting with guys was a strategy for Nengi, and that she was saying it like, because today she's with Tricky, tomorrow she's with Ozo, next month she's with Prince, next month she's with Tochi, the next week she's with Kidwire, and it just felt like a strategy thing, like it wasn't really natural, like she probably planned this to gain popularity or for whatever reason. Now Lucy on the other hand was saying that for that fight, she probably should have minded her business, because looking at it now, she should have just minded her business. But what she was trying to communicate to Nengi was that, oh, you are a babe, like you are a girl, you have much more to offer than just latching on to guys, like you need the world to see you, especially seeing that when you came to the house you were saying, oh, you want the world to see you that's more than just a pretty face. So you really need the world to see you as an individual instead of throwing yourself at men. And she even said that, oh, the first time she told Nengi this, it wasn't so much of an issue, although Nengi felt bad about it and complained to Ozo. But the second time was when the gbas bam now happened and everybody just went. So yeah, back to fights and stuff. So now we're talking about Praise and Neo. And if you remember very well, Neo puts Praise up for eviction, and then the night that when Praise was called out, you know, as the person to be evicted, Neo fell on the floor and was crying, even Prince, and I was like, boy, you put him up for eviction though. So they revisited that issue, and Praise was like, I thought Neo was my guy, like we always said that we're going to have each other's back. And even at some point he came to meet me to say that, oh guy, if I leave this house, so I beg, help me take care of my babe, because you're the only one I trust, and I know that you really like V as a friend and stuff. So he felt really bad when he found out, when he came out of the house and he found out that Neo of all people put him up for eviction. Now when they asked Neo was trying to dilly-dally around it and tried to avoid the situation, saying, oh no, I thought he was liked. I'm like, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Which one you thought he was liked? Are you in everybody's mind? So Neo was basically saying that, oh, he was trying to save Tricky because he didn't feel like Tricky had such a good relationship with so many people in the house, so he was trying to save Tricky. But he felt like Praise was going to stay because Praise had a good relationship with many people in the house. And Ebuka kept on asking him, so Praise wasn't a priority for you? And after running around in circles, he finally agreed that okay, Praise was not as important to him as other people. Obviously, V was there. V had to be number one. We all know that. Nobody's faulting you for that. If you hadn't put V as number one, it would have even been a problem. So it was now between Tricky and Praise, and then he picked Tricky. So obviously, Praise wasn't that important to him. That their friendship was one-sided. Now Prince was complaining about Neo as well. A lot of people have complaints about Neo. So to Prince, Neo didn't have anybody's back, and then he said that he thought Neo was his brother because on several occasions in the house he called Neo brother, only for him to find out, you know, after the house, that during one of the diary sessions Neo said that he was faking that his father's story. You know that challenge where they painted their hero or something that represented their hero and they told his story, and then Prince was telling his story about his dad and even cried. And in the diary room, Big Brother said, okay, who do you feel was faking it? And Neo said that he felt Prince was faking it, and then things just went left from there. I'm just like, guys, no, let's not do this. So yeah, things really went south from there, and that was basically just it. That whole thing was really funny because Neo was now like, okay, I didn't say he was lying. I just felt like he was faking the tears. I felt like he didn't need to cry. Those tears were kind of fake. And then Prince was like, do you know my family history? Do you know me? And even V was like, oh, I think, I don't think Prince was faking it. I actually think he was being honest, because even me, I cried at some point. And I was like, okay. So now addressing the situation, Prince was like, okay, that after the house, Neo came to meet him and was trying to like farms him and say, oh guy, if anything comes up, I'm your guy, I'm sorry for anything that happened in the house. But he didn't really particularly talk about the dad issue. He was just, you know, on the surface and trying to get back into his good graces just for what he could get from Prince. And Neil was like, that wasn't it. Like, I wasn't trying to get back in your good graces or anything. And Prince even had to come in, step in for Neo and say that, okay, when I even left the house, when Neo met me, he said the same thing. I don't know about what happened with him and Prince, but he said the same thing to me, saying that, oh, that guy, I beg, whatever happened in the house stays in the house, you're my guy, and stuff like that. So maybe that was the same approach he used for Prince, but Prince didn't like it because he wanted a more personal apology. Now, Prince on the other hand was like, I felt like the apology was fake. I felt like it was fake. He was trying to get my good graces, and that's that about that. And he was like, if you know me, you know that I like hyping people up. This is not even about being fake or about, doing trying to get in your good graces. Like, I even had something I was working on that I wanted him to be on, so it wasn't even really about me being fake. Now Ebuka put V in a very dicey situation, because like, V, you're the only one that likes to tell the truth, so what exactly happened between these two? And V was like, okay, oh, I'm going to say the truth. Oh, I really feel like Neo should have apologized to Prince and just say he's sorry, because that the thing of people's parents is really, really sensitive. And then she also said that when Neo screamed and fell at Prince's eviction, I beg your pardon, she was like, what kind of man am I in love with? What's all this pretense about? And then Ebuka asked her, so do you think that Prince, because Prince called Neo a snake, so he was like, do you think that Prince was right to call Neo a snake? And V was like, maybe a snake is extreme, but he was a bit sly in the game. Now, Neo also said that he called Prince several times, maybe to apologize. Actually, he said it was to apologize. I don't know how true that is, because if you were going to apologize to somebody and they don't pick your calls, you could send a text, you could send a smoke signal, you could send an Instagram DM, a Twitter DM. There are so many things you could have said or done. So Prince was like, okay, I didn't see your call, and you could have texted me and done other things. But Neo was like, well, I called you on Christmas Day, I called you 2 days after we left the house, I called you other times between that, but you did not pick my call, so I just moved on. Now we moved on to Watoni and V's fight over that bed space. Remember that fight that was so unnecessary in my opinion, that V was like, guy, I just need you to move bed spaces, I will be disturbing you in my stuff. So according to V was like, I felt like it was a misunderstanding. I don't think it was anything deep. I just really wanted her to be comfortable, because I really liked Watoni, and the bed she was staying on, I had my stuff on it, so for every time I want to pick stuff, I will disturb her. And people had gone home, people had been evicted, Eric was gone, Lilo was gone, so I just wanted her to move to Eric's bed or something, so that she wouldn't be, having to move every time I want to take something from this storage space. And Watoni was like, yeah, that it was a misunderstanding, but she felt bad that Tolani Badge and V decided to discuss that when she went to bed, because she was awake like some few minutes before, and they could have easily told her. So her hearing it from her sleep was like, okay, are you guys gossiping about me? Like, what's the plan? Like, what exactly happened? So yeah, that was where it triggered her. She felt like there was an underlying Prince situation with her and Tolani Badge that led to that gossip, because they could have easily said it in her front. And then Tolani was like, no, Prince was no way involved in this. Like, this was not about Prince at all. We just wanted you to get a good space and stuff. Tricky was like, I think there was a Prince there. I really think there was a Prince there, whether you like it or not. I think there was a Prince there. Well, anyway, these 2 episodes, and I was really surprised when they gave us 2 episodes, and I'm like, what's going on here? Is this the end? Guys, please let this not be the end. But it's not the end, because Ebuka didn't say it was. So yeah, that was basically what they explored today. Lost brotherhood, underlying situations, triggers and stuff. So that was basically it. Thank you so much for joining me in this reunion updates. Don't forget to keep to date with us. Every single day we bring you these updates on our YouTube channel, so you should like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share these videos with your friends, your family, every single person. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. My name is Judith, and this is brought to you by Every NG. Bye.